The first major action scene in House of the Dragon Season 2 takes place during the Cargill twins' duel, in which Arryk and Erryk meet a fateful, deadly meeting that ends with the deaths of both brothers. Naturally, there is a twist to the battle. It becomes very difficult to identify which brother is which. However, it appears that Arryk is the one who declares his love for his brother even after they separate ways, which makes sense given that Arryk is the one who departed King's Landing. The brothers may still have cared for one another, but in the end, Arryk kills Arryk by running a sword through him. It was a cruel, but inevitable, conclusion. Arryk then makes the more unexpected and tragic, though explicable, decision to fall on his own blade. In Westeros, kinslaying is a dreadful act for which a person is supposed to be cursed by the gods. Being a knight of honor, Arryk would be aware of this and, partly as a result, fall on his own blade because he does not want to live knowing that he killed his own brother, with whom he had previously shared a soul. This could also be the reason for his request for Rhaenyra's forgiveness of his death. Kingsguard or Queensguard vows are final until their death unless they are relieved of their duties beforehand, in which case Arryk is essentially terminating his service, as well as his possible perceived failure in permitting the attack to occur in the first place. Though there are some significant changes from the original work, the battle between Arryk and Erryk is lifted from George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. The history book doesn't mention Rhaenyra's existence or Arryk showing up to stand up for her. Different people have different accounts of how the battle transpired, but both brothers die as a result. The passage from Fire and Blood is as follows. Grandmaster Munkin claims that the twins fought for almost an hour. The sound of steel on steel startled half of the Queen's court, but everyone else could only watch helplessly as no one could identify which brother was whom. Finally, with tears streaming down their cheeks, Sirs, Arryk and Erryk dealt each other fatal wounds and passed away in one another's embrace. Mushroom has a shorter, more salted, and overall more flavorful story. Our imbecile claims the fight lasted barely a few moments. There were no expressions of brotherly affection. Instead, when the two Cargills fought, each called the other a traitor. As his twin fell, Sir Arryk grabbed his white cloak and drew him in close enough to stab him in the abdomen. Sir Arryk had delivered the first fatal blow, a vicious downward slash that nearly severed his brother's sword arm at the shoulder. Even though Sir Arryk's stomach wound took 4 days to heal, he was dead when the first guards showed up, screaming in excruciating pain and swearing at his betrayer brother the entire time. Both of the major accounts are present in House of the Dragon's retelling, but it once again decides to tell the story in its own unique way. Since Rhaenyra is the target of the attack, it makes sense to have her there and try to make it a more intense, high-stakes encounter. It's even more awful that Arryk fell on his sword, but it's also possible that nobody outside that room finds out the truth about his demise.